He's always like, Bob, come stand next to me so we look like the number 10. I'm like... I love my dad. That's where I got my sense of humor. My dad and I kind of have the same sense of humor, which is weird because we don't look alike at all. My dad weighs 280 pounds. He's 5'7". Yeah, and he's always been big. I asked my grandmother, I was like, was he ever skinny like me when he was young? And she was like, no. He was born on a Thursday and a Friday. And I'm not making fun of him because he loves being big. He loves it. He's always like, Bob, come stand next to me so we look like the number 10. I'm like... But he's just so clever and funny. I was so fortunate to grow up like that. Trying to think of some examples. Actually, that is a good example. Since I didn't look like him, my second junior year in high school, I went to him. Are you guys judging me? This is a clean comedy play. This is supposed to be a lot of Christians here, you know? Act like a Christian. Judge me silently in your mind. I wasn't good at school, and I'm not going to make excuses. I honestly believe I am a Christian. I really am a Christian. I'm not just saying that so Hollywood will love and embrace me. But I really believe that God has given all of us individual talents, and I think he made me to do comedy, but it also means my brain is a little processed weird. Like, first grade, my teacher said, class, you have to raise your hand to go to the bathroom. I was like, no, you don't. Watch. So I didn't date much. It doesn't matter when it doesn't matter when I went to him, but I went to my dad. That was the whole point of the story. I went to my dad and I was like, I don't look like you at all. Was I adopted? And he goes, yes. But they brought you back. Who's going, oh, he wasn't a mean dad. He just was very funny. Okay, some things he did was mean. He actually convinced me if the ice cream van was playing music, it meant it was out of ice cream. He taught me how to play slug bug. You see a Volkswagen Beetle, you punch a person. Yeah, he taught me the rules, and he drove me to a Volkswagen dealership. That wasn't even the worst one. The worst prank he ever pulled, it took me 6 months to catch on, was every night he had me take communion. And I thought it was because I was a really strong Christian kid. And finally my brother was like, dude, he's just giving you NyQuil. So... I'm sorry. I love that all these people are laughing and that lady was like, oh, that's a good idea. I was so excited when they called and asked me to be a part of this because at the time I didn't know what the term pro bono meant. But no, it's all exciting. I flew in today at the Provo International Airport / snow cone machine. I flew in, I wanted to give it a hug. Yeah, and then they lost my bags, which was my fault because I flew. And and it was my fault, and the only reason I wanted a toothbrush because I want to hang out with you guys after the show, and I was able to get one here, though, man. You guys have an amazing Goodwill. No, I got a soft bristle. Someone was a biter. Anyway, but I love doing comedy, so thanks for supporting us. I don't get why some people don't laugh. Actually, in the airport today, I met a guy who had no sense of humor. I was waiting for my bags to come out, and I was standing behind him at an ATM. I thought this was hilarious, but as soon as he put in his password, I just went, got it, and I took off running. He did not look like a sprinter. He caught me. I tried to explain the joke. He didn't laugh at all. Evidently, you can have a sense of humor if you're an undercover cop. So, but it's such an honor to be here. I know a lot of you don't even know me. I don't know what you want to know. I live in northern Mexico, a place called Houston, Texas. And, yeah. And I'm actually excited about tonight's show because I heard you guys were like an epic crowd, and my last show was actually in Houston 2 nights ago, and it didn't go well. I did a show for the Texas National Vegan Society. Like, yeah. Like, all the vegans in Texas showed up, all 7. And I don't think through my show. I just get up and start talking. And I was backstage talking to my dad, and we... this is an example. I didn't think through my show tonight. Because I don't ever want to offend anybody. I do all clean comedy. I don't want to offend anybody. But yeah. But there's things you can't talk about. And I do mostly shows in churches. And you have to really watch. Like, you can't talk about, like, discipline is a hot topic. You can't talk. How do you discipline your kids here? Whoa, okay, wow. You don't have to show me. Somebody's spanking a kid right now. So one person spanks their kid, the rest of you, what, just stare at them? That means don't do drugs. See, it's a hot topic. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm going to be honest. I'm raising, I've got 5 tax deductions, all boys, and I do. And I don't want to offend you guys, but it's a big debate. I spank my kids when they're bad. I do it out of love. I do, and I studied it. I got the James Dobson Strong-Willed Child book. Yeah. That helped me so much because it was thick enough that when I spanked them, I told that joke in a church in Michigan one night, and this lady came up after the show, and she was like, "You're advocating child abuse. You should never spank your children." I'm like, "You're a Christian. Haven't you read Proverbs where they talk about it?" And she was like, "That was different. That was the Old Testament. They didn't have timeout back then." And I was like, "What?" It's like, yeah, they did. What was the lion's den, huh? I'm with you, man. I grew up getting spanked. There were times I deserved. One time my dad used to lead singing at our little church, and he said this one time, because my dad has this deep macho voice. It's totally opposite of mine, and it's okay to laugh at my voice, because it's weird. And it's weird that I'm a father, because I'm the protector of my 5 kids. Me, the protector. First of all, I have the wrong body, right? Like, I'm the only guy in this theater that can use chapstick as deodorant. And this is my real voice. Are you scared? Think about that. If you were a burglar breaking in downstairs at my house and I was at the top of the stairs, would this scare you? Like, you better not be down there. What is that? I'm the only guy that can stand at the top of the stairs and go, "You better get out or I'll call my husband." But my dad has this deep macho Texas voice. His voice used to echo over the neighborhood. He used to tell me to do something, kids in other households would get up and do it. Seriously, he'd be like, "Take out the trash." And kids 2 doors down would be like, "Yes, Lord." So one time my dad was leading singing at this little church, and I was sitting down front, and he goes, "On this next song, why don't we all stand to our feet?" And I don't know why I did this, but I was like, "Yeah, everybody stand to your feet." Good thing he said that. I almost stood to my liver. We never sang that song. He didn't say a word. He just shut the book. He walked right down. He picked me up. He carried me like a football outside. Yeah, and he's a Tony Romo fan, so he fumbled me several times. Are we still okay? But no, back to the real story. He really did. He picked me up and he carried me out. And I deserved it. I should never have ever smarted off to my parents. And, but it was so embarrassing because it was right in front of my children. And, so... I wasn't me. Why was I talking about that? Because I don't want to offend anybody, but is it okay to talk about hunting? Like, is it okay? Yeah, okay, I figured. You guys have great hunting up here, and I'm a big hunter. I got a 10-point buck this year. Yeah, and it did not mess my truck up like I thought it was going to. That was some good eating. Once I scraped it off. But anyway... But my dad and I, we grew up very poor, like really poor. You know, like we had to eat cereal with a fork to save on milk. And everybody get it that's gonna get it? Okay. No child left behind. Okay, so. But my dad and I were reminiscing because I told him about the buck I got, and my dad and I were, because we grew up very poor, so we had to hunt, and we would go duck hunting. And I'm sorry if that offends anybody in this theater tonight, but that is a beautiful father-son moment. Duck hunting in the morning, the sun would be coming up, my dad and I'd be hiding under the slide by the swing set, and I'd be tearing off the bread, the ducks would come waddling out. Quack, quack. You know, right? You know I'm kidding. Okay. They didn't waddle like that. Anyway, I shared all this with the Texas National Vegan Society. They got so angry. I wasn't even thinking it through. They got mad. They threw organic tomatoes at me, and yeah. But they were vegan, so they weren't strong enough to hit the stage. So in fact, one time my parents took us into a bigger town to the. See, I wasn't going to tell this story, and it just popped in my brain. The Kitty Casino, the place where kids gamble. Chuck E. Cheese, yes. That is a casino for children. They don't even hide it anymore. You got to go through a turnstile. There's no clocks on the wall. There's a 6-foot mafia rat walking around handing out tokens. So my parents dropped me and my brother off. I did really well at the skee ball table that night. I left 200 tickets up, and well, now we know who gambles. And I'm not judging you, because I gamble. I gambled today, actually. I had Chinese food. So, and the house is gonna win. Anyway. But when I cashed out, I got one of those rubber sticky hand things. And this is just an example of how I used to get in trouble all the time. So my parents pulled up and they picked us up. You know what I'm talking about with the rubber sticky hand thing? Yeah. So I got in the back seat. Oh, I need to set up my dad a little better. I wasn't planning on telling the story, but my dad would always look for weird ways just to mess with me. Like, this is one of my favorite ones. He told me we were too poor to afford a dog, so if a burglar broke in, I needed to bark at him. And yeah. And I love it. That was one of my favorite pranks he pulled on me because it backfired on him, because it happened my freshman year in high school. My dad was the superintendent of schools, and this kid who graduated didn't like my dad. So he broke into the middle of the night. He was going to steal our TV, but I didn't know it was the kid, so I'm scared to death, right? I was a freshman. I'm laying in bed going, what am I going to do? I'm only 17. And so judgmental up here. Anyway, I pulled the covers off and I crept down the hallway and I heard this guy, but I didn't know it was a kid, and I peeked in and saw it was the kid. And then all of a sudden I remembered what my dad said. And I don't know why I did this, but I just ran into the living room and I just went, It worked. You gotta do it. It was awesome. He just froze. Then he let me smell his hand. Backed out of the living room. My dad came in. He's so proud of me. He came over and he rubbed my belly. So that's my dad. So my dad always was looking. So I got in the back seat of the car, and my dad pulled out on the freeway. And my dad has the rule that you don't talk to him while he's driving, because he's not a good driver. I feel bad because he'll probably watch this. And I love my dad. He's like my hero, but he is not. I'm actually a worse driver, but my dad's really bad. That's true, too. I just want to be honest. I'm always trying to be honest on stage and stuff, but I've been in 2 wrecks this year already. And the last one, it was so embarrassing. Nobody was hurt, but I hit the, it was a vehicle where everybody gets mad at you when you hit it. Not a bus. What? Not a school bus. I had to ride the school bus in high school, though, and I hated that little thing. No, what's the vehicle where everybody get, hearse. They were mad. They all jumped out of their cars. I was like, everybody just calm down. I didn't kill him. But my dad has the rule that you don't talk to him when he's driving because he does get very frustrated. It's kind of funny when he gets frustrated because my dad is a Christian. Both my parents are awesome Christians, but when he gets mad, he doesn't cuss, which I'm proud of him for, but he uses substitution words. I don't know if you do that. Yeah, it's so great. And my dad uses words from the Old Testament. Seriously, but one time he slammed his hand in a car door, and he was like, ow, Shadrach. Oh, son of a Abednego. So read your Bible, children. So we're driving down the road, and my dad, and so he has the rule you don't talk to him, but my dad leaned over and he turned on, again, I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but let me finish the story before you decide. He turned on country music, okay? That's the part I'm worried. Country music fans, see, I'm not against country music at all, okay? But there is, actually, I wrote a country music song last year called If I Can't Be Number One in Your Heart, Then Number Two on You. So, that's gonna be a hit song. I just gotta learn how to twerk. Anyway, so, but the country music that my dad put on was this mindless, get in the middle of your brain and eat your brain from the inside. You know what I'm talking about? Like, lang, 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 like that. So we're driving down the freeway, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And I felt like he did it just to see what I was gonna do. But he had the rule that you don't talk to him while he's driving. And I obeyed my parents. I was a good Christian kid. And so I was sitting in the back, I was like, oh, I wish I could say something. I wish I could, hey. And I had a rubber sticky hand thing. So I thought to myself, I bet you I could sling that between my mom and my dad and hit a radio button and change the channel. You gotta admit that's pretty smart. So I immediately prayed about it. You always pray before you do any kind of mission work. So I didn't know if it'd work or not, but all of a sudden I was like that. Not only did the hand go straight between my mom and my dad, it went right up to the radio, and it hit I was allowed channel number 2 to put anything in. And I had, it was 97.1, the Eagle, which is a rock channel out of Dallas, Texas. So we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden the radio goes from lang, 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 lang to welcome to the jungle. And my dad was like, ah! Or, it was in a guy's voice. It was way too loud. It was way too high. But no, my dad was wigging out because he didn't know I had this hand thing. All he knew was a weird voice all of a sudden came out of the radio. My parents later told me they thought Satan had possessed the radio. And my parents are ultra-conservative Christians, and so when they thought Satan had possessed the radio, they started doing things I'd never seen my very conservative Christian parents do. My dad started laying hands on the radio, praying over it. My mom, I don't even know if you guys know this term, but she tried to talk in tongues. And you could tell she was faking. She was like, bought a Mazda, should have bought a Honda. So I was like, boom, boom, back in my hand, back in my pocket. My dad finally grabs the steering wheel. He's like, oh my goodness, what happened? Which meant I got away with it. I was like, yes. My brother was like, he did it. Shadrach. So my dad didn't even ask me what I did. He said, I don't even care what you do. I don't care what you did. Don't ever do it again. And I promise you, I obeyed my parents. So when he said don't do it again, I wasn't going to do it again, but, and I think every adult in this room will back me up, a Billy Ray Cyrus song came on right then. I think even on Judgment Day, God's gonna go, yeah, I totally understand. Well, you didn't want your achy breaky head to hear that tune again. So I took out the rubber sticky hand thing. I was like, I gotta try this one more time. So all of a sudden I was like that. Not only was that hand going straight back up between my mom and my dad, it was going right back to channel number 2. I was like, here we go again. It didn't happen though, because my brother, who is not a comedian, I want to point that out, he thought it'd be hilarious to bump my arm right as the hand got by my dad's face. Let's recap this story, shall we? He doesn't know I have this hand thing, so now all he knows is a big, gooey hand has now reached out of the seat and grabbed him. Which would really scare you, especially if you thought Satan had just possessed your radio. So he starts screaming, a demon's got me, a demon's got me. So he grabs the hand, he throws it up against the windshield, it splats up huge. He's like, oh my goodness, he rolls down the window, grabs it, throws it out. I scare him even more by going, my hand! I remember thinking, it can't get worse than this. My brother turned around and he goes, that is so cool. That landed right in the center of that cop's windshield. So when people ask me how I get into comedy, that's how I get into comedy. And weird stuff happens to me all the time. I got in trouble 2 weeks ago. I was in Canada. First of all, getting over the border was a little... Back me up. Hello, do you have any guns? Or, hello, do you have any guns with you? That is 2 different questions. He goes, do you have any guns? I'm from Texas. What am I gonna say, right? I was like, yep. He goes, what? He goes, how many guns do you have? And I was like, 18? And that was the wrong number. I will say this about Canada, though. They do have free health care, because I got a thorough examination. And you know what? No bill. Canadians are supposed to be known for being nice, like in that. And I was there. I got in there, and most of them are nice. But I actually got into with another Canadian. We were going into Tim Hortons coffee shop, and we got in this huge, like, because I'm a nice guy too. But I got in this huge fight over who was going to hold the door for who, and yeah, it was so awkward too. Because I'm looking at him, I'm like, is he really gonna? I mean, he's Canadian. It's not like he's going to go to war over this, and. Don't go, oh, don't turn on me. He was stereotyping me too, because I had a shirt on that said Texas, so he was looking for my gun. And yeah, and I kept moving around in case he was going to give me a free healthcare exam. And yeah, this went on forever. Thankfully, somebody from Detroit came over and stabbed us both. I got in super trouble. When was this? 4 days ago. Oh, I was in a third world country doing stand-up. What was it called? Little Rock, Arkansas. And nobody's from Arkansas, are they? I forgot to ask. Nobody? Okay. Oh, are you? Okay. I'm sorry. I never wanted to offend anybody. I really am sorry. If you really are, I will speak slower. If you're really, I don't know if you're from Little Rock, but if you are, back me up. Like after the show, tell me, because I was flying out of the Little Rock, Arkansas airport, which I didn't realize they just changed the name to the Bill and Hillary Clinton International Airport. Well, you guys are getting icy on me really quick. Everybody calm down. I am not going to make fun of the Clintons, okay? This is not about them at all, okay? I don't know if that... No, I will never make fun of the Clintons. I am the last person that wants to wake up with a mysterious, self-inflicted gunshot wound. That is... This is a story about the airport. I didn't even know they changed the name. Evidently, it took forever because they had a big voting process and the Russians got involved. But it's a great airport. It really is. It's professionally run. It's all paid staff. There are no interns. And this is what got me in trouble. This is a true story. I showed up at that morning, and I didn't know they changed it. And they were like, "Welcome to the Bill and Hillary Clinton International Airport. May I see your boarding pass?" And I couldn't help it. I was like, "Oh, man." They emailed it to me, but it got deleted. And I'm glad you guys are laughing, because all I remember after that moment was, wow. His hands are cold. But I love doing this, so I thank you guys. I'll be over there if you guys want to hang out afterwards. I really love that you guys support dry bar comedy, because it's so important to do clean comedy. And I've been doing this for a while. I'm going to close with my last favorite traveling story. I was in Phoenix doing what you normally do, sweating. Yeah, I'm sorry. I love people from Phoenix, but they're all like, "It's a dry heat." And I'm like, "Yeah, so's a welding torch. I don't want that." But this was years ago. It was right when the iPhone first came out. Remember when the iPhone came out and it just changed everybody's lives? Like, it does everything. Like, you know, even before they introduced me, I knew we were taping, so I was nervous. So I was back there using the deodorant app. And I know that's a cheesy joke, but I like to tell it because some people laugh, but there's always a few of you that's like, "Does it do that?" And if you're from Arkansas, you're like, "What's deodorant?" So... But when the iPhone first came out, I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know anything about it, but thankfully my oldest was 7, so he did. And that's not a joke. He made a ringtone for me. I didn't even know about ringtones. He made a ringtone. I love being a dad. And he was like, the ringtone was, "Hello, Dad, pick up your phone." And so I was like listening to it. I was getting ready to fly back, and I was listening to it, and I was about to go through the little metal detectors, and so it was time. So I put my phone in the bag, and I guess the TSA guy saw me mess with my bag, so he opens it up. He didn't even see the phone. I had some other stuff in there. He opened it up, and he got his eyes big, and I was like, "Well, what do I have in my bag?" And he pulled out a tube of toothpaste, and he was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "That's toothpaste. What are you, from West Virginia?" And he got really mad, because he was. And he yelled at me. He goes, "You can't fly with toothpaste." And I was like, "Dude, okay, calm." I'd never been yelled at by TSA. I was like, "Calm down. I didn't think it through, but I totally agree. Take it. Believe me. I don't want anybody jumping up in the middle of the flight and brushing everybody's teeth." Is that really a threat? Are there Tartar terrorists out there? You're like, like, why would they even? Now gargle, go Allah. So. It wasn't even terrorist-like toothpaste. I'd understand if it was like AIM or Scope, but. But I'll close with this. This is my favorite traveling story. He took the toothpaste, and he's just staring at me. And he takes my bag, and he sets it on the conveyor belt, and it starts going in the x-ray machine. He's just staring at me. And as soon as the bag goes in the x-ray machine, someone called me. And all of a sudden, you hear coming out of the bag, "Hello, Dad." And he was like, "Is there a kid in there?" I was like, "Calm down. He doesn't have toothpaste." So I love doing this, and thanks for coming out and supporting us. My name is Bob Smiley. God bless you guys.